So friends, we may end up seeing a motion filed to remove Judge Aileen Cannon, federal judge down in Florida, from a case involving Donald Trump. But it's not exactly the case we thought. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. Well, friends, Trump-appointed Judge Aileen Cannon is back in the news. You undoubtedly will recall that after being appointed by Donald Trump, she went on to preside over Donald Trump's classified documents, obstruction of justice, espionage case in federal court down in Florida. You'll undoubtedly recall that Judge Cannon was reversed twice by the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals for abusing her judicial discretion in favor of Donald Trump, doing something for Donald Trump the law did not allow. As if that wasn't bad enough, she went on to dismiss Donald Trump's classified documents case, ruling in a way no other federal court judge has ever ruled. Every other federal judge, every other federal court, including the United States Supreme Court, has ruled special counsel and independent prosecutor is lawful, but not Judge Cannon. In her determination to help out her man who appointed her to a lifetime position on the federal bench, Donald Trump, she ignored all the law and she dismissed his case. So for a very long time, we've been screaming that she must be removed from presiding over Donald Trump's case. Of course, she's no longer presiding over it at the moment because she dismissed it. It's up on appeal, and I believe the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals will reverse her for a third time. We've also been screaming that Jack Smith should file a motion to remove her, but he never opted to do that, at least not yet. And here's the thing, friends, the law provides that when a judge's impartiality might reasonably be questioned, they shall, they must, they are required to disqualify themselves, remove themselves from the case. But of course, Judge Cannon never did. Well, friends, now in a development that is stranger than fiction, Judge Aileen Cannon is presiding over the case of Ryan Routh, or Ruth, not sure how he pronounces his last name. This is the guy who allegedly was involved in some kind of an assassination attempt of Donald Trump down at Mar-a-Lago. No shots were fired, but he has now been arrested and will be back in court on Monday. And of course, Judge Aileen Cannon is presiding over a case in which Donald Trump is not the defendant anymore, but Donald Trump is the victim. And for the same reasons that Aileen Cannon had no business presiding over Donald Trump's criminal trial, what with all of the lawless favors for which she was reversed by an appeals court that she did for Donald Trump, the question now becomes, okay, wait a minute. Can she fairly preside over Ryan Routh's case when Donald Trump is the victim? And she has shown herself to be biased in favor of Donald Trump over and over and over again. We're going to talk about the sort of legal niceties and try to answer that question. But first, let's start with the new reporting. This from a local news outlet down in Florida. Headline, Ryan Routh to be arraigned Monday on federal attempted assassination charges against Donald Trump. And that article begins, Ryan Routh is scheduled to appear in West Palm Beach federal court Monday to face new charges of attempted assassination of a presidential candidate. The judge who will eventually take over his case will be Aileen Cannon. Cannon presided over Donald Trump's classified documents case in Fort Pierce and eventually dismissed it, saying the prosecutor was assigned to the case illegally by the Justice Department. Cannon was randomly assigned the case Tuesday after a Miami grand jury indicted a 5-count indictment against Routh. You know, friends, from the first moment I learned that Judge Aileen Cannon had caught the case involving the person who was alleged to have engaged in this assassination plot of Donald Trump, I thought to myself, well, Ryan Routh's attorney is almost certainly going to have to file a motion to remove Judge Cannon, a motion to recuse Judge Cannon from presiding over Routh's case. Why? Well, because of the relationship Judge Cannon has and all of the favors she has done, abusing her judicial discretion along the way for Donald Trump, who's the victim in Routh's case. Now, when you look at the relationship between Judge Cannon and Donald Trump, there's a reason we don't let judges preside over cases where one of the parties, you know, the defendant or the victim, has some kind of a relationship with the judge. For example, let's assume that before she became a federal judge, Judge Cannon worked in some big company or law firm, and her boss promoted her to the highest possible position in the company or the firm. And then her boss ended up being a defendant in a case over which she was presiding. She would have a relationship with the defendant. And that would undermine the reliability of the result in the case, because people will ask, well, is she making these rulings in the defendant's favor because the defendant once promoted her to the highest position in a company or a law firm? That's why we don't like having judges preside over cases where they have any relationship with the defendant or a victim or the witnesses. So not only does Aileen Cannon owe her lifetime position on the federal bench as a federal judge to Donald Trump, she also ruled in a way that the law did not allow, and an appellate court said she abused her discretion by doing something for Donald Trump that she was not entitled to do. In fact, they said no judge is entitled to, quote, interfere in an ongoing DOJ investigation, but she did. And she abused her judicial discretion when she did it to the extreme advantage of Donald Trump. She was actually found to have abused her discretion twice by the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. And then to sort of put the cherry on the disqualification sundae, she dismissed Donald Trump's case, contrary to case law and precedent. You know, talk about 3 strikes and you're out. So it seems pretty clear that the defense attorney who is representing Ryan Routh is going to have to file a motion to have her removed from presiding over Routh's case. Why? Because the victim in the case is now Donald Trump, somebody she has abused her discretion in favor of previously. And frankly, if Routh's attorney doesn't file a motion to have her removed, the attorney could perhaps be at risk of being found to be ineffective assistance of counsel, because defense attorneys have to zealously represent their clients and have to make all meritorious motions that they believe are supported, you know, by the evidence and by the law. And this motion certainly would be, you know, so I don't know if it qualifies as irony or serendipity or coincidence or karma. I don't know. But the fact that she's now presiding over a case in which Donald Trump is a victim after dismissing the case in which Donald Trump was a defendant, I do think we may finally see a motion to recuse Aileen Cannon, just not from the case that she should have been removed from long ago, the Trump classified documents, obstruction of justice, and espionage case, which will come back because I am confident the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals will reverse her for a 3rd time. Maybe they will even sua sponte on their own say, Now that we've reversed the case and reinstated the prosecution against Donald Trump, we are directing that it be assigned to a different judge, not Judge Cannon. That wouldn't surprise me either. And of course, all of that will go up to the Supreme Court, and we know that all bets are off when it comes to what that radical right-wing 6-justice block of the Supreme Court will do to try to continue to help Donald Trump. But, you know, this motion to remove her should be filed by Routh's attorney. I maintain it's a straight-faced motion, a legitimate motion, maybe even a winning motion. But, you know, just as Donald Trump deserves a fair trial, Ryan Routh deserves a fair trial as well. Because justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to seeing you all again tomorrow.